we're going to do an unofficial survey. Everybody,
Oh,
leave a
that's
comment
good.
with, okay, two questions. What is your favorite
Sure.
gospel? And what do you think is the most popular gospel? So you're going to give two
Matthew is the
answers,
most popular.
yours and then
I think so.
here we are, the first Sunday in Trump's second presidency. Whoops, did I go there to begin this video? Yes, I did. That's where we find ourselves looking at this coming Sunday, the end of January, January the 26th, coming up. Reverend Thorne, hi, you're back in the pulpit. Okay, hi, Reverend Jim, Reverend Thorne, Word Made Fresh, talking about narrative lectionary texts, Riverside, the whole world, our ideas, use them what's helpful. How are you, Adrienne? And how are you feeling about stepping into the pulpit with this president back in office again?
I mean, I feel great. I don't feel great about him being the president, but I think, like I said last week, the world is so much bigger than the United States, so much bigger than our president, and so much bigger than the what we imagine will be craziness
Yeah.
and madness. Are we going to address it? Absolutely. Are we going to speak out against it? Absolutely. But I was reminded recently, that we have been through harder things that have lasted for longer than 4 years, and we're going to be okay. Um,
Yeah.
I know not everyone, I know not every cultural group has had to struggle, but I know, I know stories of struggle. So if you've read any of those books that they're trying to ban, you know that people have been through much worse for longer periods of time and have survived. So I am good. We are going to be all right. We're gonna be angry. We're probably gonna be hurt. But we have a community. We have a community of people, and we have a God who sits high, and
Yeah.
we are trusting in that.
I think that is the one of the best starting places looking into this Sunday, because some people could see it as like, oh no, we got to really change it. And if that's you in your context, great. Respond to the people that God has called you to serve. But I think what you're saying is this is another day, and we will address injustice like we do no matter who's sitting in what office. We will advocate for love and compassion and empathy and creativity as we are called to do every day, every year. There is nothing new about our call. It just so happens that we might have to talk about Greenland and Canada and the Gulf of America now.
Oh my Lord, that is one of the nuttiest. But I would say, like the ongoing massacre, the absolute devastation in Gaza happened under Biden, right?
Yeah.
He's the one that said, "I'm a Zionist." Those hostages that are still being held, that is Biden. That is Netanyahu. I think those hostages could have been freed a long time ago if we
Yeah.
had made some different choices as a country. So it's been a hot mess since before the inauguration of Donald Trump to his second term. I mean, we have to be uh, clear about that. And as we
Yeah.
said last week, capitalism, poverty, racism drive a lot of what we do, regardless of whether there's a Democrat or a Republican or an independent or nobody in the White House. This
Yeah.
country has got issues, right? This is not a Christian nation. This is not a nation who follows the Christ of the scriptures that we are reading. And we've got to
Yeah.
be very clear about that, I think, in our worries and our calls for justice. We would still be doing this work if the
Yeah.
election had gone a different way.
Because we're not disciples of Biden, we're not disciples of Trump, we are disciples of Jesus. And in
That's right.
today's text, Jesus calls his first disciples. Oh, look
Yes.
at that
Look
transition I
at
just
that.
did.
That was
So
smooth.
we are in Luke 5, so we're still making our way chapter by chapter, it feels, through the book of Luke. We're going to be with Luke for a while, so get cozy, slow down, enjoy this story from Luke's perspective and Luke's telling. What's going on here in Luke 5, verses 1 through 11? What's happening?
Yeah. So, Jesus is teaching, and there are crowds, and he's in a boat, and it's one of those scenes that we conjure up when we, I think of Jesus in his early ministry. Um, the men, they're not, I guess, just like the disciples yet. The boys, actually, they're probably teens. They're probably bar mitzvahs, meaning that they're 13, 14, 15. They're young men. Um, are out fishing and they're not having much success. And Jesus says to them after a long night of failure, let's go out, let's push out a little bit further from the shore. And my favorite line in the text is this: put out into the deep. Um, I love this text because of, I think of what it says about us psychologically. Carl Jung
Hmm.
talked about the deep being like the our subconscious. I think there's a lot in here psychologically for us. It's interesting that after this dive into the deep, I think it's Peter who comes up and, no, it's not Peter. Is it Peter? Who is it that says, "I am
Peter.
a
Yeah.
sinful man," right?
Yep.
That's
That's
psychological
Peter.
stuff. Like, what made
Yeah.
him, what did he touch? So, yes, they have put out into the deep. They've let the nets down. They've pulled up the fish, and they are promised that they will be fishers of men. I think there's something deeper in that, something deeper in that putting out into the deep. I think Jesus invites them to touch things in themselves that they may not have been aware of or wanted to admit. But I think it's what they will do in their work as disciples as well. Call people to notice, to take stock, to do some truth telling about who they are and who they are in Christ and who they want to be as followers of Jesus. This is not a surface level snorkeling event, right? This is a
Yeah.
deep dive into who we are and who we might be, because this man Jesus has been by.
Yeah. Just this one encounter with this wandering rabbi, and suddenly it changes everything. The text ends. They brought their boats ashore. They left everything and they
Everything.
followed him. Wait, they just had their most successful fishing trip and now they're leaving it all behind? That
Right.
seems like it runs in the face of every business advice we're given. When you find the niche market, you go in. You don't
Right.
drop it at the shore and follow this rabbi. Whew.
Except the rabbi, it's like, it reminds us, I know we're just mixing all kinds of metaphors, but you remember that story about the golden goose? You
Mm-hmm.
could just take all the golden eggs, like you could just take all the fish, or you could follow or hang out with the goose, right? So Jesus is the one who
Yeah.
did that. Jesus is the one who made that happen. So the fish, nobody cares really about the fish. I mean, someone's gonna fry them up and have a great fish fry and be grateful for that. But it's the dude who made that happen that
Yeah.
you want to stick with.
I always remember in seminary, I think I first started doing this. I'd find a book that the author was like, "You're brilliant. Who did you read to get brilliant? I want to go read the footnotes." It's that sense of
Exactly.
Jesus is the footnote there. Jesus is
Yeah,
the one, the source for
the
this. It's, yeah,
source.
yeah.
He's the
Leave
source.
it behind and follow Jesus.
Right. And then I just thought of something, and I don't know if this is true. I may have already gone to check, but I can't remember. Does Luke end with the Emmaus story? Do we get fish
That is
again?
Luke. I'm preaching that one on the end of April. So yeah,
Oh,
that's
that's
Luke.
right. So there's something really, I mean, I don't know, maybe it isn't. I mean, this is a fishing community, but it is kind of interesting that it is interesting to think about, like, what is the meaning of fish in this story? Maybe nothing. Maybe it's just like, dude, this is just what we ate, right? We live by the sea. Um, but maybe I'll have to
I
think
think there's
about
a
it.
lot there. I think
Yeah.
there's a lot there. Oh, well, what I love about this, and we were saying this before we started recording, is I feel like in this narrative lectionary experience, we're getting to feel the narrative. Like
Yeah.
we are dropped into this story and we can find meaning within this story. Like you've already helped us explore the depths of this, and I think we'll get a bit more of that on
Yep.
Sunday.
Yep.
But we can very clearly see where this just came from with,
Mhm.
Jesus at the synagogue in Luke 4 and causing a little bit of controversy for wanting to proclaim the year of God's favor on those who are most oppressed and marginalized. And now here he is calling some disciples. We're kind of still just getting the energy started, I think. It's like we're warming things up. We've got the controversial character. Now he's getting his band of compatriots together.
Right.
What's going to happen next? It's just this perfect
Yeah.
tension that we're going to kind of sit into week after week after week in this narrative lectionary experience.
Right. And I think what's also worth remembering in Luke is the bulk of it before Jesus's last week of life is spent right in his hometown. It's his
Yeah.
story, it's his sort of travels throughout Galilee. He's not like going far afield the people know him. He knows the people. Um, and there's something very sort of homey, um, cozy about that. And it is interesting to see how he is treated, where people are like, dude, I knew you growing up, get away from me. Um, yeah, he's doing these extraordinary things in his regular space and not really
Yeah.
being met with the regard that you would think the Son of God would be met with.
I mean, that alone, I think, resonates with what you said earlier. This, psychological metaphor of going to the depths in the spaces where you are often most familiar, or people are most familiar with you. It's easy to stay on that surface and not get to tap into who you
Mhm,
are. Think
mhm.
about any time if you have siblings, whenever you get back together with your family, why do we all default to our sibling birth order idiosyncrasies and all those things again? We just like, no, I'm more than that. I'm more than just the baby child in the family. I have full thoughts and emotions and experiences and ideas. And how do we allow those depths to come up,
Right.
especially in our hometown when people might only know us on the surface?
Well, I think one answer to that is he says, push away from the shore. I think there's
Mm.
something in that about getting away from the safe place, the known place. So you push away from the shore, and then he's now like, let's put out into the deep. Let's
Mm.
drop our nets. We're not dropping them over there where Mama and Grandma and everybody is, right? We got to get a little bit of distance for you to, I think, be able to touch something. There's something
Yeah.
really powerful in Peter coming back and saying, I am a sinner. Like, what happened? We just got some
Yeah.
fish. What made Peter just say that? Like, but it's like there's something therapeutic like about this. What in the world would make someone have this confession? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I find it a very psychological sort of thriller of a text.
Well, that's this Sunday's text.
Yeah.
So you all know the drill, I think, unless you just stumbled upon this video. Hi, great to have you. This coming Sunday, Reverend Thorne's going to be preaching this text from the pulpit. Worship starts at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Prelude with the Carillon and the organ starts at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. All this is online and in the room, trcnyc.org. Before all this, at 9:30, we're going to dive into this text in open Bible study. That'll be happening both in the room and online, so join us for that. And then afterwards, we always have virtual coffee hour. That's just for us online. And Reverend Thorne will get you sneaking into the robing room, and we'll chat with you on Zoom about all these depths and fishiness and all that good stuff. So it's going to be another good Sunday.
It's
I
gonna
like
be
it
great.
all. I like it
It's gonna be
already.
great. There's so much in Luke. It's a wonderful gospel. I don't know if it's the most popular. Probably Matthew is, but
Probably John, I would think, is the most popular.
I don't think
No?
so
No?
because it's not like
Okay,
it's synoptics and people
well,
like
okay,
to say,
we're gonna do an unofficial survey. Everybody,
oh,
leave a
that's
comment
good.
with two questions. What is your favorite gospel, and what do you think is the most popular gospel? So you're gonna give two
Matthew is the
answers,
most popular.
yours, and then
I think so.
and maybe next week we'll read back the results and we'll see how it's been going.
Oh, that'll be fun. Yeah, let's do that. Well, what is your
All right,
favorite gospel?
my favorite gospel, I think I like
I
Mark
like
because I
the
think it just
one.
dives in.
It's
I like how it's goes.
it's quick. It's like the
Yeah,
ticking clock one. It's compact and short. It's the shortest, right?
it's the shortest. Yeah, it's brief. It's the oldest. It's the most to the
Yeah,
source we
most
have of the
accurate.
gospels.
Yeah, I
So I think I
really
like
like
that.
John because it's the touchy-feely kind of in your face. It's the Jesus loves you and your stinky feet. So the foot washing happens in there. The woman washing Jesus's feet with her hair. There's something really
Yeah.
sensuous and tactile and fleshy about John. Plus, I just love
Yeah.
the opening. In the beginning was the word.
Oh.
I mean, it's so
Ooh.
poetic and
Yeah.
there's nothing else like it. But we'll hear from everyone else what they
This is a fun question. We should ask that kind of question more
think.
often. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Go read your favorite gospel, leave a comment, and join us on Sunday. And we'll see you back here for the next one. Bye, everyone.